I think it's nice to see more and more nations being added to War Thunder, a handful of which only have just gotten added. And as decided by democratic vote, today we're going to talk about Thailand, a country known for their wonderful nature, lovely wildlife, beautiful women,
and lady boys,
and the long-lived tradition of staging a coup every 10 years or so. Today we're just going to talk about its military, specifically every ground vehicle that could potentially be added to War Thunder. Now normally this is the time where I talk about how this nation could be added, but seeing as we just received the airline for Thailand as a subtree for Japan, I think it's pretty much set in stone that the ground tree will have the same fate, which I think is actually pretty good, and that means this is the first nation I talk about where I think it'll do better as just a subtree. You see, Thailand simply doesn't have that many vehicles that could be added. Israel, for example, has 46 vehicles currently in their ground tree, and though Thailand comes pretty close to that as well, they're way more spread out. Though, interestingly enough, in such a way where you could actually make a pretty decent tier 1 lineup, and you could then skip ahead to around tier 5 and continue the tree from there. So a Thai tech tree could sorta work, but there'd be a lot of gaps. So I think it's pretty much guaranteed Thailand will become a subtree, and that is fine by me. Besides, from what I could find, most people pretty unanimously agree that Thailand should have been added as a subtree for Japan anyway, as seen in this subtree suggestion, for instance, made by Nikolai Kashor, which was a huge help making this video. If by the end of this video you think I missed any vehicles or information, you can let me know in the comments, or you can join my Discord, where you can also help me research videos and topics in advance. Before we start talking about Thai vehicles though, I first want to correct some things about my previous North Korea video. If you aren't interested in this and do want to get to the Thai vehicles, you can skip ahead to here. This section will be short though, probably because North Korean stuff is so all over the fucking place that no one really knows what's going on. First is a small correction, as I called the Tatra truck Soviet, when in reality it is a Czech vehicle. Another error is one I noticed when watching the video back. During the section about the M1991 Tukchun, I used a just completely wrong picture. This is the M1975 Tukchun with Ikla manpads, and it's the exact same picture I used when talking about the M1975, which is a bit embarrassing, but no one seems to have noticed, so. This error probably happened because I had to rush the editing a little bit, as I was gone the entire week after, and as far as I could find, there's sadly no M1991 Tukchun with Ikla manpads. Now, let's move to Thailand. Thailand was during World War II already an ally of Japan, but despite this they only ever had one Japanese tank, the Type 95 Ha-Go, renamed in Thailand to Type 83. Thailand also purchased Carden Lloyd Vickers 6-ton Mark E Type Bs, renamed to Type 81s. It's of course very similar to the Vickers or T-26 in-game, but it has a short-barreled 47mm gun. I'm not entirely sure how effective this gun would be, but you also get an 8mm machine gun, so you'll be fine. We now jump way ahead in time to the M41A3. As far as I could find, the A3 doesn't have any crazy changes in-game, and it would just be like any other Bulldog. They also had M48A5 PIs, and I'm honestly kinda surprised the US doesn't have these already. The main upgrade of the previous M48s is the gun being upgraded to the British L7 105mm, and the cupola being changed out for a low-profile one. These were upgraded, however, with the FCS-10 kit, getting a new fire control system, adding a stabilizer, laser rangefinder, and overall better gun handling. This was only ever field tested, but I still think it'd make a good tech tree vehicle. Next in line is the M60A1. I am unsure which version though. I could only ever find it being referred to as just M60A1. It could be the base variant, or the AOS variant, AOS standing for add-on stabilizer, or even the Rise version. I sure hope it's one of these stabilized versions, as America really seems to like making their vehicles as unfucking stable as humanly possible. We could get the M60A3 TTS, same as the Taiwanese version, though they're sometimes seen with additional wood armor, unofficially dubbed WERA, or Wood Environmentally Recyclable Armor. Wow, doesn't that just get your peace-loving heart beating? Putting nature-friendly armor on a 50-ton death machine. These were later also upgraded to the M60A3 Ti FCS, a major Israeli upgrade, getting a new gun sight, an upgraded electrical turret drive, and an index loader system allowing for a much faster fire rate. For a while, Thailand wanted to reorganize their tank force, and at this time, being unable to produce their own, they looked at the export market. They, for instance, tried their hands on the Italian OF40 Mark II, but never used it. This thing I also would not need to see in-game, just leave this thing to Italy, please. They also trialed the TH301, which you'll probably recognize as the TAM. This was actually a major improvement over the TAM, made by Tyson Henschel. Compared to the TAM, the 301 gets side skirts, a better fire control system, now with a laser rangefinder, and a better engine. This thing was also not adopted by Thailand. Another German vehicle Thailand tested was the M41 GTI, or German Tank Improvement. As Germany just introduced their own Leopard 1s and Jagdpanzers, they wanted to get rid of the leftovers and developed this prototype for the export market. It retains the same exact firepower as the regular German Bulldog, but now gets a stabilizer, thermals, laser rangefinder, and a better engine. Again though, it was not adopted by Thailand, so this prototype could also go to Germany. The last trialed vehicle Thailand did adopt, this being of course the Commando Stingray, renamed in Thailand to the Type 32 light tank. It is an American vehicle, specifically designed for export, and Thailand is the only that has ever purchased the vehicle. So although American, this vehicle is unique to Thailand. It gets the L7105 again, and smoke grenades. The base version just has night vision, but a laser rangefinder can be added to this, or it can be replaced with a thermal imager. Thailand also performed tests by putting the Stingray turret on M41 hulls, but I honestly have no idea what their goal here was. Might make a good premium though. Next up is probably one of the most interesting vehicles here, the T-84 Opla-T, T standing for Thailand. This is a Ukrainian vehicle, and this might be the only way for at least the T-84 to be added. Gaijin doesn't seem to be very comfortable adding Ukraine to the game in any way, and seeing as they're a Russian company, I don't see it happening anytime soon. Apparently they planned on adding Ukraine, but Russia's 3-day special military operation stopped them from doing so. I think Thailand and other export nations are the best shot we have for getting Ukrainian vehicles. The T-84 is an upgrade to the T-80, getting the Stora APS from the T-90, a better engine and transmission, finally getting a reverse speed faster than walking days, an upgraded fire control system, and new thermals that you will probably be able to see the enemy commander's thoughts with. Not to mention, the T-84 has exceptionally good armor. That's not an exaggeration either. The T-84 might be the best protected tank currently in the world. To accompany the T-84, last year Thailand bought VT-4s from China. These are different from the VT-4A1s that you can find in the Chinese tech tree, as it doesn't get the hardkill active protection system, and the Thai version uses a weaker type of ERA. So it's overall a slight downgrade. Thailand uses some more Chinese vehicles though, like the VN-16. A amphibious light tank, also known as the ZTD or ZTL-05. In contrast to literally every other amphibious vehicle in-game, this thing can actually move in water at a very good speed. On land it can reach about 65 km per hour, and in water this only drops to about 45 km per hour. It is armed with a 105mm, capable of firing APFSDS, HE, heat, and also ATGMs. As well as getting a 50 cal, smoke grenades, laser rangefinder, and thermals. Thailand also had a number of Type 69-2s, but as far as I'm aware they were only ever used in training exercises as OPFOR units. Most of these were given a watery grave and were turned into artificial fish reefs, which is pretty damn cool I must say. 5 Type 69s were kept however, and their 100mm gun was swapped for a Chinese 105mm, and remain as training units. Honorable mention goes to the Type 86, seen in a vision during a schizophrenic episode by one of our beloved viewers. Alright, let's go back in time a bit. This is how I imagine the light tank line would look like if it was a tech tree. Starting with the M8 Greyhound, received from the Royal Thai Police. We also have the T-17E2 Staghound, but with a 20mm, renamed to Type 92. Continuing with American cars, the M3 half-track was fitted with a 47mm Hotchkiss turret, as well as 2 Type 92 7.7mm heavy machine guns. The Type 21 is the Thai name for the FV-101 Scorpion. If it looks familiar, that's because it's the exact same vehicle as the Scimitar, but with a 76mm gun. It can only fire HESH shells though, with around 80mm of penetration, so it would have to be placed at a pretty low BR. These were later upgraded with thermals, but seeing as they'd have to be put at such a low BR, I don't think this version would really work. The Commando V150 is an American car again, with a 90mm in a cockerel turret, also getting smoke grenades and night vision. Thailand also equipped M151 Jeeps with M40 recoilless rifles. Come on guys, we still need cars with recoilless rifles. We still haven't gotten them still. Come on guys, just add them. Come on. The BTR-3A1 is another famous Ukrainian vehicle, armed with a ZTM-1 30mm, 2 Kiev DB barrier ATGMs and smoke grenades. The BTR-3E1 instead has again a cockerel turret armed with a 90mm with APFSDS, smoke grenades and everything you'd expect in a modern fire control system. The VN1 is a Chinese 8x8 with a 30mm, a 35mm grenade launcher and smoke grenades, but now also getting thermals. The Chinese version also has an ATGM in addition, but all pictures I could find of the Thai versions don't seem to have it, so I'm not sure if the Thai version has these ATGMs or not. The DTI AAPC is the first and only fully domestic design that could be added right now. It's another 8x8, but now amphibious. That's what the first A stands for in AAPC. It is armed with a 30mm Bushmaster and smoke grenades. Moving to the artillery/tank destroyers, first going back to the M3 half-track, with the Barbakar 105 Atayon, now armed with a Bofors 105mm howitzer. Naturally, Thailand also gets M109s, but this time the A5 variant, getting a better engine and a new gun housing, allowing for more and faster elevation. The M758 ATMG is a locally produced Israeli Atmos 2000 6x6, armed with a 155mm howitzer. The Caesar is basically the French version of this. The M425 is a very obscure vehicle, being again just a truck, a Kia in this case, armed with a 105mm howitzer as well. The YW306 MLRS is a very old Chinese ABC, armed with 30 130mm unguided rockets, with an additional 30 for reload. The T85 MLRS is built again on the same Type 85 chassis, now with 24 122mm rockets. The most modern rocket artillery Thailand has is the D11A, built on the Tatra truck and being able to carry a plethora of different types of rockets. Thailand had the M114A2 TOW, again very similar to what we have in game, and they also had the M901. This was the A3 variant though, receiving TOW 2s instead of TOW 1s, and smoke grenades. There are also some more BTR-3 variants. The BTR-3RK carries a 12.7mm machine gun and 4 Stukna P ATGMs. There are also some Mordor versions of the BTR-3. The BTR-3 M1 and M2 carrying a 81mm or 120mm mortar respectively. Then there's the Cardam, an Israeli 120mm mortar on a 4x4 chassis, and Thailand also has the M1064A3. As mentioned in previous videos, I'm not sure if mortar carriers would actually work in game, but I wanted to mention them anyway. The entire section will be very short. We have the Type 76 SPAA, a Mark IV Dragon carriage armed with a QF2 40mm autocannon, and for the rest there's the police version of the T-17E2 Staghound, which is unmodified, and the M163, renamed to the Type 20 Vulcan. These Type 20s however were later upgraded to the M163 IMI, getting a laser rangefinder, low quality uncooled thermals, a stabilizer and better target tracking. The only self-propelled air-to-air missile system Thailand has is the KS-1, also known as the HQ-12, and it's the only top-tier worthy AA Thailand has. Before we get to the conclusion, I first want to talk about the PANUS series of vehicles. This series is currently under development and could potentially be added in the near future. First is the R600, another 8x8. The base already exists, but there's a couple versions to be made in the future. The first one has the exact same cockerel turret and 105mm gun as the CV90-105 we have in-game. The second has a Hitvac turret, an Italian company, armed with a 120mm cannon. Then there's an anti-air version with 8 FIM-92 Stingers. The second version is the HMV-150, with a version with a 30mm, another with 2 Skiff ATGMs and a 50 cal, and lastly another AA version with the same Stinger system as the R600. As you can see, Thailand doesn't have a ton of stuff, but what it has is decently interesting. If I'm going to be honest, I'm personally most excited for the Ukrainian vehicles, But some other vehicles like some of the trucks or the Stingray are pretty cool too. Seeing as we just got the airline for Thailand, I think we can expect the ground units to follow pretty quickly. Although I said the exact same thing about the Benelux, and that is still fucking... Again, if you think I missed any vehicles or details and would like to correct me, please do so in the comments, or better yet in my Discord. And the corrections I'll mention in the next video, where we'll be talking about India. I can't wait. Now subscribe.